Hello, welcome to Ball Street and welcome to Social Club Live. It basically means that anything can happen if you watch the various live streams that we produced across all the channels. It was a bit weird and manic. I'm not saying that's not going to happen. I'm not saying it is going to happen. You're just going to have to stay tuned to find out. Look, Ped's here and Chris's man in the comments. You listen, we just put the pieces in place and we see how the game develops. That's all I'm saying. So we've got some big topics that we're going to be discussing, and we want your thoughts on all of them. At the end of each topic, we're going to go over to Chris in Social Media Centre, to give it a really important sounding title, and he's going to read through the best of your comments, and then at the end we're going to be taking your Ask the Club questions, which you can get in by tweeting at Ball Street. Chris is all over that Twitter account, and he's all over the Ball Street just world.
He's all over the fridge as well, by the looks of it.
So, first topic, and I wanted to do this because there's some really, again, proper footballing topics, I guess, to get into. But first and foremost, obviously, we haven't done a social club since the Hillsborough inquest came out last week. And from a Liverpool perspective, and I just want to say, I think the response around football this weekend in particular has been first class. You know, we waited 27 years for the truth to finally come out, and I just say, obviously, Ped, we have a laugh, we have a back and forth with the Liverpool-Everton stuff, but your club in particular, I thought, and I expected it as much, but I thought the way they covered it all was absolutely exceptional this weekend.
Yeah, Everton, listen, I can slate them for some things, and I do, but when it comes to things like that, they're just amazing. They are generally amazing, and it's not for show as well. I think there are certain clubs and individuals that will do things for show, whatever, and it's completely from the heart. And I think you've got to live here to just understand that, and understand that it's not something that just affects Liverpool Football Club, or it affects everyone in the city. And I was at St George's Hall on Wednesday for when all the families came and stuff, and that was just unbelievable as well, just the emotion and I'd never sung You'll Never Walk Alone now, I have to admit that. I just don't put my scarf up. There are some things I will simply not do, but it was just amazing to be at. I felt like I had to be there just to be part of that historic thing. And at the game on Saturday, it was amazing too, just to see the families and see how overjoyed they were, and just almost like the relief, taken off them. I watched the Hillsborough docudrama last night, and just when you watch that and you see after the first inquest, and when you see them now, you just think the things those people have had to go through. So,
I was. It made me so proud, and I mean, again, Robbie, you can see around football. You know, I think every game had something paid reference to it before the game. I know the Newcastle fans were singing "You'll Never Walk Alone." Obviously Liverpool played Swansea. The Swansea announcer, the speech he gave before it was just like tears to my eyes kind of stuff. It's good because ultimately
I thought Villarreal as well. The banner that they had up was great as well.
And I think for me personally, it's great to see the clubs taking this, because there could be a temptation for football clubs to go, or people to go, well, it was a Liverpool thing, but it wasn't a Liverpool thing. It's a football thing ultimately.
I remember when it happened at the time, and it was so easy, wasn't it, for the police and authorities to blame it on football hooligans, because at that time, as we know, there did used to be a lot of hooliganism, and to hear the unfolding story that it was all a cover-up, and even though I feel so happy for the families, but I still keep thinking to myself, why did it take so long? 27 years. I mean, that's ridiculous. And it still hasn't even ended for them yet.
No, exactly.
And I just think to myself, somebody has to pay a price for that. Somebody has to be held accountable. I mean, even the response from the police, some of the police who were involved at the time, I wasn't impressed with that response. They're still trying to defend certain things. Oh, we were all under orders.
Yeah.
I mean, if you see somebody's dying, I don't care what orders you're under. You need to change and try and help those people. And
I do think we have to be careful on the police side of things, because obviously there is some ongoing things. But I think
that's true.
That's great. But the thing for me, Nicky, is just, and again, I obviously, we'll be picking the energy up on it. I thought it was something worth covering, but it's the sense of unity around football, because there's so much of it. Look, Hillsborough's been a thing, and it's been a stick. He used to beat Liverpool. Every club has something or other that if you're looking to get a response out of fans, you go to. But I think this is a perfect example of football fans actually almost a show of strength and a show of support, which you don't get to see enough of in the modern game anymore.
Yeah, that's true. There are certain things that just bring fans together, and I think as an event, as a tragedy, it shaped the way football is now.
Yeah.
The stands would derelict. Some of them, that the one on a day wasn't fit to hold the people in. And now, if you look across the country, football stadiums are shaped on that event. Yeah. So I think, as a whole, it's as tragic as it may be, it's made the experience for the fans better. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I think everyone appreciates that. It was a horrible price to pay, but
yeah, absolutely.
It has shaped the game in the way it is now, and I think everyone appreciates that.
I was at Sheffield Wednesday this year when Arsenal played there. And I remember when I was going into that same area, and I was like, I just kept thinking, what must that have been like on that day, Yeah. I mean, obviously it's completely different now, it's all seater, but I just kept thinking to myself, wow, what that day that must have been, because you can just, even in going in, with the I think it was about 5,000 Arsenal fans on the day going in, you're thinking, wow, and there was more people than this, and there weren't the controls and all that. What must that have been like? It must have been horrific, So
I remember going to Upton Park once. Wasn't overcrowded. It was just a surge in a crowd, and I was only a kid at the time. And I remember getting crushed against a barrier, and I couldn't breathe. And it's scary. It's scary at the time because you can't move.
Yeah.
And it was waiting to happen. Unfortunately, it happened the way it happened, but,
Yeah, well, we move on, and hopefully, obviously things are ongoing and all that, and like I say, for the city of Liverpool, feels like a massive weight's been lifted. It's something. It's a mark carried against you. You don't necessarily have it yourself, but it's the way other people see you, it's the way other people perceive you, and how much stuff I've had to put up with over the years when you go out of the city as well, and the ignorance around the country about it. And there's still morons out there. Well, there's always going to be. But
the other side of it is, though, as you're saying there, someone's got to pay for it, because I guarantee if it had been at the boat race, or if it had been at Lords, or one of these other sports, it would have been dealt with. But it would have been dealt with, it would have been dealt with within a year.
Yeah.
But because it was football, and listen, I still feel that football fans are treated like scum. Yeah. I still feel like cattle when we go to a lot of games. I still don't feel like football fans get treated, like people do when they go to concerts and things like that.
But there is an improvement, Ped.
Well,
you know when I noticed that there has been a massive improvement in this country. Every time I go abroad to watch football, I remember I was at Barcelona earlier this year. It's terrible the way they treated the fans, their crowd control. I mean, at one point going into that ground, I feared a sort of not as bad as Hillsborough, but a Hillsborough type situation on that day. And I just thought, you know what, they are so far behind this country, and we have learnt a lot from that Hillsborough incident, and it is way better than when you go abroad,
Rob, When I say that, I don't mean from an organisation point of view. I just mean from how you are treated by certain people. Like,
there's a stigma that comes with being a football fan.
You are still a football fan. You are still hated, and the organisation's fantastic, and the way they herd you is a lot more organised. But you still feel like, did I pay £60 to go to this game to be like, go over there, or I don't want to deal with it. So I still think there's still a lot to do.
Yeah.
Football fans, we shouldn't be treated like we are, because.
But this is the thing, isn't it? And this was the knock-on effect. And look, obviously there was football hooliganism being rife in the 80s. You had Heysel, which can't be swept under the rug as well. But also the thing with the Hillsborough stuff is that ended up being the final, straw or whatever, which is a wrong thing to do because of fans being blamed for being drunken or whatever. The fact that you can't drink in a football ground, whereas you can watch a concert there, or you can watch the rugby, or you can watch whatever in exactly the same seat and have a completely different experience. I've been to Wembley, watched the NFL, beers in your seat and having, and all that kind of stuff. And the fact is, it's a stigma that's been carried over that football fans have never been able to shake, because the people upstairs are terrified of football fans off the back, and off the back of that kind of stuff as well.
Exactly.
So yeah, Chris, we're going to head over to you then. We'll move on. The next topic we're going to be discussing is the Wenger Out protest, and I'm sure there might be a mention of some Everton stuff as well. Stay tuned for that. Chris, you got some comments to wrap us up on Hillsborough?
Just to wrap up, firstly, Sam Harrison says it's amazing how fans can put their differences behind them and show support for such a tragic event, JFT 96 YNWA. Of course, Coquelin is saying Payjack out, losing to Charlton at home, disgrace, which is a nod to our CMO 102 series. You're totally wrong, mate. I'm in and I'm here to stay. I'm going to win us the 19th league title. I'm going to do the Champions League double. I'm still in the FA Cup. I might even add that as well. So back off, lad, because seriously, I'm going to win this. Back onto the real topic, I suppose. He just wound me up. He just really wound me up. They get under my skin, this media, do you know what I mean? What do they think they're doing? Anyway, Nelly Pod 97, quite simply, justice for the 96. Omar Lasker, thought Swansea were class as well, which I thought was dead interesting, and I totally agree with. Shad Tiago, the Hillsborough tributes were fantastic. Strange how it was 20 plus years later they finally got an answer. And Jack Cadwell, nothing but respect for Everton for their tributes and support they gave the families at the 96. So yeah, fair enough, like full unbelievable stuff just all around the league, man. It was absolutely brilliant, wasn't it? Villarreal, as you guys have mentioned. Let's talk about Wenger Out protest. That's what everyone is for. There's loads of Arsenal fans in the comments. They want to speak to Robbie. They want to speak to him first of all about his reggae career, and they want to know why you never mention it. Seriously, Robbie, they want to know why you never mention it. Few people want a few songs live on air. And then they've also said, and forgive me, I haven't got this one down here. Robbie, are you in or out? Get off the fence, lad.
I said I'm going to do a video at the end of the season, so it's about a week away when I'll stay what I am.
All about the views. All about the protecting his views.
Ain't no views.
Over to Arsenal on TV in a couple of weeks' time for that. But for now, we have to discuss it because, you know, there were protests. It's starting to spill over, Robert. You know, it's no longer a thing that's on social media. It's no longer a thing in the pubs and bars around the Emirates anymore. There's people actively doing stuff inside the ground. How many? I mean, I obviously didn't see the game live as it unfolded. What was the response like in the ground?
The response was very poor, to be honest. I mean, leading up to the game, you thought, you know, the way it was being put across, there was going to be a mass protest. But on the day, if I'm being really honest, I'd say out of the whole stadium, no more than about 750 maybe placards held up. And I suppose Wenger, well, I read a comment today where he said he was expecting it to be a lot worse. And it just wasn't, it was just not, it weren't what a lot of people thought it was going to be.
Why do you think he was expecting worse?
I think he knows that, you know, fans are really upset with him. They are. And I think...
What is your channel?
You know, it's not just Arsenal Fan TV. I mean, fans are really upset with this season and how it's gone. I think there was some really ill-advised comments from Arsene Wenger, which he's kind of apologised about, which again, I found that was amazing.
To be more like Liverpool fans.
Well, he was blaming the fans. He was saying that, you know, basically they didn't really, you know, they need to get behind the team more. But the performances have been terrible, especially at home. And he's sort of trying to say that because fans have been on the players' back, that's what's led to the performances at home being so bad. I really disagreed with that.
I need to get Nicky. You're in a shacking club. You've gone through your fair share of managers. What's the best way to do it?
Do you know what? We haven't, Paul. We've had 13 in our history.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the best way to do it? Did you say?
How did you do it with like Zola or?
I just told them to sling their hook and that was it, basically. But no, I don't know. It's been so long for Arsenal. I don't know whether they.
I suppose it's a lot easier when you bounce from one league to another, though, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's probably a lot easier when you do that. You know what I mean? Yeah. It gives you the.
Yeah, that's normally how we do it. We get relegated. and it gives him an out.
What do you reckon to it though? Because look, I think there's a lot of people who look at Arsenal this season and say should have been putting a title challenge together. If not, then does the manager's head roll? But also, you know, there's 3 other clubs here represented who wouldn't be too upset with a consistent Champions League finish every season. Could the grass be greener on the other side?
Do you know what? I think it could. I can see both sides of the story. I can see the fans that want to keep him and I can see the fans that want to get rid of him. But if he was a manager of our club, I think the problem with Wenger is he's become arrogant and he's become sort of indulged in himself. And, you know, I'm the manager, I know what I'm doing. It's sort of, you know, it's one of those things. You know, Mourinho's got a bit about him, but he wants to spend the money. This is the confusing thing about him, is because you'd think after all the years that he hasn't won a league, this season was a real chance to go out and buy a couple of players. You know, they blamed it all on the stadium, saying in 2006, and look, we've got this amazing new stadium. It's going to take us 10 years or so to pay for it, or 8 years to pay for it. Once it's paid, we promise you riches. And when it came, I mean, to sign a goalkeeper when they're desperate for a goal scorer, the thing that they'd done a few seasons ago with Suarez, offering 40 million and a pound, if they'd have given him 75 million pounds, he could have been an Arsenal player, and they would have maybe won it twice, 3 times since then. You know, he's the best forward in the league, and it's that sort of thing. You know, there's Benzema. Whether they're going to get him or not, I don't know. You know, it didn't look like they tried.
Even fans who don't support Arsenal get frustrated at Arsenal in the way we do things, let alone the fans that follow them.
It's the centre forward.
When I say to people sometimes that Arsenal fans are amongst the most patient in the league, people laugh at me, right? But we've been 12 years. We now have the resources.
You're the most patient fans.
No, we have the patience has run out because people realise now, they're like, listen, like you said, for 8 years we all were like, all right, cool. You know, we understand why we can't go and buy this player. We understand. But now the resources are there. Why are we not doing it? Why? It's not about winning the league. It's about mounting a proper challenge. And for the last 5 seasons, you know, we haven't mounted a proper challenge.
And you know, the thing is as well, which is confusing to me, they went out, I think the only instance I've known them to spend a lot of money, and I mean a lot of money, is going out to buy Mesut Ozil. Yeah, that was 45 million, Rob, am I right? Now, Mesut Ozil, at this moment in time, is the top assister in the league. Imagine if he'd have had a goal scorer there. Imagine if he'd have had Luis Suarez there.
Well, that's what everybody's saying. That's what everyone's saying.
I remember transfer deadline day, and I think the question was which was the biggest loser, and I said Arsenal. Because if they'd risked trying to get a striker in January, they'd have pissed this league. They'd have won this league. And I know it's easy to say, well, who's to buy? Go and pay over the odds for somebody. Yeah. Go and pay over the odds for someone you want. That's how it works. Like you were saying, Suarez should have got him for 75. You should have just said, yeah, that we'll get that back, no problem. Yeah. With Suarez, Arsenal would have won 3-4 back-to-back leagues, no problem. Challenge for the Champions League. But it's not even arrogance with him, isn't it? It's just stubbornness. It's just stubbornness.
There's so much though when you've been in trench for so long, and you see this in all walks of life. If you've had no one to tell you no, and you've been the boss for that long, I think it goes to your head. I think you lose reality.
That's why, Paul, there was this protest, because the theme of the protest was time for a change. I think what kind of messed the protest up a bit is that there was so many different facets to that. So some people were saying time for a change, Wenger out, but there's other people who are like, no, they don't want Wenger out, but they want him to change. We want you to change, or they want the board to put pressure on him to spend money and to challenge for the title. There's so many things that
sounds like half-assed. This sounds like Monty Python, doesn't it? Yeah. The people's front of, and, you know.
Do you know what I think he likes doing? I think, and over the years he's done it a lot. I think he's got the wrong job. You know what he needs to go? He needs to go and do that storage hunters things, because he likes to pick up things for nothing and sell them for a profit.
It'd be amazing.
Arsene Wenger storage hunters.
It would be amazing.
Just have a storage cupboard full of big coats, loads of coats.
But I mean, he loves to find a bargain, make him into a player, and then sell him for a huge profit. That's what he loves.
He's got a philosophy, and he's not willing to change that. And the biggest manager, the greatest manager of obviously the generation was Sir Alex Ferguson. And he always seemed...
Alex Ferguson. Yeah,
no, he's Sir Alex Ferguson.
Not in my eyes, Cuddy.
He was knighted by this country's queen.
Yeah.
You have respect.
Which countries?
This country's. You have respect for that lady and that knighthood, sir. Yeah, if you give one to... If you give one to Bob, you'd have been...
How's you make Maggie as well while you're at it, Liz?
She's dead and made up. She's still dead. There's mate anyway. Anyway, he was flexible though, wasn't he? Yeah. He would change his assistants, and he always seemed to have an eye on what was happening next.
Needed a goal scorer. Went and bought
Van Persie, paid over the odds for the player for one season, won the league, wasn't asked, was he? But what I mean is he was flexible though. He would always change his coach after a couple of years. He was always kept up with new ideas, fresh ideas.
This is what people are saying, time for a change.
He just wanted, but he had that flexibility.
But that's the problem though, Rob, is that this is where, I don't know, and I've seen it. I'm gonna have to bring it up, and people want me to bring it up. But this is, there's been a schism in Liverpool fans, and that's why there needed to be a healing, of course. But the point is that you've got the schism now; it's developed. But you all kind of want the same thing. But I think you've almost got three factions. You've got the ones who will blithely believe everything he says and carry on as normal. Yeah. You've got the middle ground, who, as you're saying, they're just, Wenger, just be different, be a different person. You know what I mean? Change. I
don't think there's a lot of people now. I can gauging it off of this season. There's not a lot of people who want things to carry on as normal.
No, but they will. But true.
They want some.
True enough. Even that camp will exist.
And I'd say, even though you didn't see a lot of people holding up those placards, there are a lot of people who want some sort of change.
Isn't that the problem, though? Isn't that the problem with football fans, though? They're all talk. And then when it actually comes to doing something, they all go quiet and don't want to be seen to be doing it like that. And it might be something to do, I don't know. I think we've had this conversation before about your ground and stuff, and I've heard this about other people's ground. Going, when you get the new ground, you haven't been sitting next to the fella for like 20 years, so you don't know whether he's got the same opinions as you, and you're terrified. And everyone's got their own sort of image of what they should do. We had the same thing on Saturday. Get loads of people say they're going to do something. They're going to, and then you get. Well, I don't know, whatever it was at Everton, 500.
Is that a subconscious move to cover your tattoo up when you were talking about
that? Listen, I feel like if I show my guns off, you're going to get really jealous. So,
and that's you viewers out there as well.
Well, of course.
If you could just rate Ped's guns out of 10 for
sun's out.
Lots of zeros coming in.
Guns out. You just get loads of these footy fans who are just, it's just too cool for school to protest. I had it on Saturday. You've given her all a big on social network. When it comes to actually, you know what? People were getting off for 5 minutes ago at our game on Saturday. Clearly, they just didn't want to be seen to have any part of it. Yeah. And it's ridiculous.
And there was a lot of that at Arsenal on Saturday where, I mean, there was a lady in the pub who told me that a father and son squared up in the ground. The stewards had to separate them because one's like, wants Wenger gone and the other one doesn't. You know what I mean? And it's causing a real split in the fan base at the moment.
But that thing is, though, Wenger played it very well. I think he played his last card with that press conference by saying that. Just by what we all knew, but on what Nicky was saying, explaining to everyone what the circumstances are and how important I am. Because I felt I genuinely watched that and went, I do feel a bit sorry for him, because imagine you'd done all that and you built the club, and then all of a sudden people are going, go ahead, mate, we've had enough here, thanks for all of it. But
that may have played all right to fans outside the club. I think to fans who follow the club, it didn't, because we've heard that before. Now we want to see what is the next part of the plan to start challenging. And as I said, I think that protest did have a bit of effect on Arsene Wenger, because he came out the next day and apologised to the fans, something I've never heard him do, right? And the stuff that he, criticising the fans and talking about, even when he mentioned the Liverpool thing and Liverpool, hold on a minute, Liverpool fans sacked Brendan Rodgers. Yeah. When they wanted Rodgers gone, they made it vocal, and that led to Rodgers being out the door. So, he should not be comparing that at all either. And I just felt that it had an effect on him, even though in a way it turned out better than he thought, because there was people singing One Arsene Wenger and stuff like that. But still, either somebody at the club has had a word with him to say, you know what, you need to start showing a bit more empathy towards the fans, because these fans are upset because we're not challenging. It's the same old thing like last year. We're not challenging. It's worse than last year, as a matter of fact.
But this could have been...
a lot of it of Arsene Wenger's own making, unfortunately. This
could have been the season that give Arsenal the two electric shockers to get their title. It's been such a long time for a club like Arsenal, such a long time.
And it'll be harder next season.
It'll be harder next season, because you had the likes of Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City, Man United.
Guardiola's going to be here. Conte's going to be.
They're all not challenging.
Chelsea.
They're nowhere near.
Klopp.
There we go.
They're nowhere near. And now that Arsenal have been up there, and the fact that Leicester are going to win it.
And Tottenham are going to finish
And
above
Tottenham
them.
are going to finish
Tottenham
above.
are
Yeah,
in danger.
Tottenham are going to finish
They may not finish
Tottenham are going to finish.
They may not finish above
Tottenham
us,
are going to
actually.
finish above them.
I think that
Tottenham,
they may
Tottenham,
not.
and the thing about it, no Tottenham players were getting the Arsenal team, are they?
No, apparently not.
None of them were getting the
I
Arsenal
said
team.
Harry Kane would get in, is what I said.
But the most
Don't
important thing
start
I want to know
stirring-
is,
You're a stirrer, you know.
what I want to know is,
Stirring that up again.
you talk about factions. You
Stirrer.
talk about factions there, but what does the Church of Robbie think about it all?
The Church of Robbie thinks that I agree with these. I agree with these fans when they say that something needs to change. Something does. It cannot be next season like this where we're not mounting. The last 5 seasons, after 33 games, 10 points off the top.
I don't want to nail you down to
That's-
something, but can you
we-
give me 3 things that you might think that need to be changed?
No, those 3 things are for a paywall.
Well, I can give you one thing straight away. The transfer policy has to change. I'd have like a director of football, sporting director at Arsenal, who worked alongside Arsene Wenger to identify targets and buy players. I think at the moment the system that we employ is not used by any of the other top clubs in Europe, where the manager makes all the top decisions. No other, Bayern don't do it, Real Madrid, Barcelona, none of them do that old-fashioned system that we have. That has to change immediately. The targets have to change. Just getting in the top 4 is no longer good enough. We want to challenge for the. I wouldn't say you must win it because it's going to be really hard, but you must challenge.
Yeah.
When it comes down to these last few games.
Why wouldn't you say that though? Why wouldn't you say you must win it?
Well, I don't
Why
think-
isn't there enough of that in
I
football?
don't think there's enough of that at Arsenal. I think that there's some.
Because I think
the-
they just read that instant.
Exactly.
I think the owners of the club are happy just to get into the Champions League. Just to be. There needs to be a refocus where they're saying, right, we want a challenge to win this thing. So when it gets down to like this stage of the season, there's 3 games to go. Even if we say not necessarily going to win it, we're working out maths to say, well, you know, if he draws and we can still win it. Not like now where we're just completely out of it. No way.
Before you're on that, then, is that like, look, when you talk about you want a challenge for the title, is it good enough that you're buying players who aren't winners? Do you know what I mean? Because you can challenge for the title. No, you can. Well, that's the thing, isn't it? You can challenge for the title, but if you keep getting beaten by, for example, Manchester United year after year after year, when that used to happen, is that good enough?
The transfer policy has to change. I feel that Arsene Wenger, one of his faults is that he's too loyal to certain players. You saw it on Saturday. He started with Giroud again, right? When Giroud, last 2 games, has been poor, hasn't scored for ages, right? Welbeck's been on fire. But I feel that because the Euros are coming up, he wants to get Giroud back in playing. He's very loyal to his players. That's how I feel.
What's the thing?
You
What
need
was the-
somebody who's going to...
loyal to France there. He wants to
Well, you know...
get them in form for.
Well, Benzema's in the neck, isn't he? So
he's very loyal. He's very loyal to guys like Aaron Ramsey who've had a poor season. He's loyal to these guys, right? Now, I think there needs to be a refocus where it's like, oh, you're not performing, you're out of the
What's
team.
the 3rd thing then, Robbie?
The third thing I'd say, right, I'm not going to talk about the manager at this moment in time, but I'm going to say the guys right at the top, right, I think there could be, I'd rather Usmanov be in charge
I think
of
he's
Arsenal.
coming to Everton, mate.
I'd rather him be in charge. He's got the money, he's got the resources. I think if he came in, he would say, right, I'm going to give you whatever it takes to win that league. And I don't want to hear no excuses.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we need.
Great.
We've got a guy at the moment that's like in the States. He owns all these franchises over there. He's got a ranch that's as big as Britain. I don't really think he cares much about Arsenal.
I'm going to make
How
a
many
bold
times a day
statement.
do you
I'm
think
going to
about
make
it?
a bold statement. I think this time next year, West Ham will be finishing above Arsenal because they've got owners, and as much as I hate them, they are just ruthless, horrible people who will do anything. And I don't think that there's enough of that at Arsenal.
Yeah.
Well,
There's too much infighting.
well, listen,
Whereas at West Ham, there's a clear focus of where they want to go, and Mark Noble is taking them there. I am telling you, he is taking them there.
Absolutely.
He is leading the charge.
So we will be discussing West Ham's top 4 charge on the next segment. We're going to Chris in a moment, but just quick from the non-Arsenal fans in the room. Would you get rid of Wenger at the end? If you were Arsenal, would you get rid of Wenger
absolutely,
right now?
Absolutely, get rid of him. The time is football is all about timing, you know. And I think this is the summer where they should just cut the ties, and he can go and manage PSG or the French national team if it's that important to him.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm the same. I would cut him off right now. I think he's too stuck in his ways. He was a modern manager when he came in. His techniques and philosophy was far above everyone else.
He's still showing people his PlayStation 1, isn't he? And saying that dinosaur, that 3D dinosaur on
He was a modern manager.
He's just cutting edge.
He was a modern manager when Goodison Park was a modern stadium.
No, I can see the case for it, and I make it continually. My only thing with it is that if they don't get the right guy to the place, look what's happened at Man United. You know, it's very difficult to replace someone who's got that much power and influence over the club. You're going to have to go for a rebound manager, so you could actually be a year, 2 years.
I don't agree with that.
Well, I'd never asked you whether you agree with
Ferguson
it.
left Man United at the top. Arsenal's leaving them. Arsenal's at 4th.
Okay. Well, no, it's a valid point. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Chris, we're going to head over to you. What are people thinking on the subject?
Shanika Lashona Jackson, sorry.
You're doing so well.
I know.
English.
Shanika Lashona sound. Jackson got it completely wrong. Why would the board pressure Wenger to spend when they are only there for the money, not winning trophies? Gotham Vivek. Wenger is not going to leave, but he knows next season's the last straw. I think he'll buy Higuain or some other world-class striker. Aaron Spears, this is what happens when a manager is given too much power at his club, so kind of agrees with Robbie on that type of stuff. Hoggerty Doherty. Will take years for Wenger's replacement to be successful. We'll have to change the style and the players. I'm quite useless, really. Wenger's ruining lives. He's ruining lives, people. Casper Rum, looking at it from Estonia, Arsenal fans seem to always slag off Wenger instead of focusing on the players that don't perform. You know what, for me, right, there is a large portion of that with Arsenal fans. I think you've got to blame the manager, haven't you, if he's the one ultimately who's getting the results, but the players don't.
You're a football club, and like Ranieri are going to win the league. The players are going to get bigged up, but Ranieri ultimately is going to get all the plaudits.
Yeah.
So if you're doing badly, manager's got to feel it as well. I'm sorry.
And then two more, Charlie Johnson. Most teams can't dream of what Arsenal have. And finally, Mark Olivey. Wenger in. Lol. He's a Spurs fan, mate, to be perfectly honest with you.
No, it's an interesting one, isn't it? And obviously, continue to keep your thoughts coming in on that in the comments below. We're going to move on now to our next topic. Keep having some questions coming in. Use hashtag #AskTheClub, tweet at Ball Street, and Chris is going to go through some of them. He's going to be throwing them in quick-fire style to us a bit later on. Hashtag, is that a hashtag?
Hashtag Robbie.
Hashtag Robbie.
Hashtag like Robbie.
Hashtag man like Robbie. So, yeah, the next topic, we've got Nicky from West Ham Fan TV making a social club debut.
Yes, mate.
You just grind it in.
We're comparing
I was
guns.
the same man like Ped. All right.
People want an arm wrestle.
What's over? I'm sorry, I'm just pointing to something over there.
Steve online.
Ooh, maybe we'll end on that. I'll tell you what. Is there anything we can do to say if we get a certain amount of something, Chris? These guys will have an arm wrestle at the end.
Yeah. There's loads of things we can do, Paul. What do you want to do?
I'll leave it up to you in social media centre. I'll give you 5 minutes to develop something, and we'll come back to you.
Excellent. Okay, one more.
Go. No, we want like X number of likes or X number of retweets or what?
Let's see if we can get to 1,000 people watching
If we
live.
can
So
get
share
TV
the
to
link,
10,000
basically.
subscribers, I'll compare anything.
9,000, congratulations, by the way.
Oh, and West Ham Fan TV, congratulations, 7, was it?
Yeah, thanks very much.
Flying, there you go. Robbie, 70 million. Never mind.
Oh,
So dropping
breaking news. Sonic, Jane. Oh, where's it gone?
Stooge.
What?
Sonic, Jane, Stooge, Ped is such a tool.
That's not breaking news. We know that from.
They're called Sonic.
That was new news when Everton was a modern stadium. So
Everton last on the league.
So
We've got a Jules Rimet trophy.
It's been an incredible season so far for West Ham.
Your captain was a thief.
Shut up. It's been an incredible season for West Ham. You must be buzzing. I thought it could go one or two ways under Bilic, and I didn't think this was one of the ways, if I'm perfectly honest.
Look, I've done videos at the beginning of the season, so I didn't want him. That's how much I know, you know. No, it's been magnificent what he's achieved there. It's a pleasure to go then again, you know, and that's all we ask as West Ham fans. We don't expect much. We've Ped quite rightly tell you that we haven't won much, but all we.
bigger club? West Ham or Everton?
Everton.
We'll get to that in a
Not
minute.
really an argument.
Well, in fact, let us know in the comments below who's bigger club, Everton or West Ham, in your opinion. And if you're under the age of 21, that could be an interesting answer for Ped. Go on, mate. I mean, look, ultimately, you actually sent us a message at the weekend. Top four's top four's bang on for you boys.
Yeah, that result yesterday just put it. I mean, a couple of weeks ago, we had about 3 or 4 games where we should have won them, and the referee got the decisions wrong. There was a goal against them guys that should have stood, that would have given us a 4-3 win. A penalty that wasn't a penalty against Everton when the guy was outside the box. I know you didn't win the game.
What are you asked about?
But
Goal difference.
no, but I'm just saying there was about 5 or 6, dodgy refereeing decisions that was just not going in
Ped
their favour.
takes major umbrage at other fans having instances where referees screw them out of stuff. It's not going to hurt your book sales, mate. It's fine. Your fans will still
I'm
buy
sure
it.
we had 10 men that game.
Yeah.
But but things like that, we thought it'd gone, and then all of a sudden we've hit another run of form. We absolutely destroyed West Brom at the weekend, and then City losing, and now it all comes down to them guys. If them guys can beat City, and we win our last 2 games at the Boleyn, which are going to be massive, massive games, and the last one against Man United is gearing up to be a real game now. If that happens, we could go into the last game of the season in the top 4.
West Ham are another interesting case for me, Robbie, and I don't want to keep bringing it back to Arsenal title challenges or whatever, or even look Everton and us to some extent. Is that when you've got a club like Leicester City on the verge of winning the title, you've got a team like West Ham United who could be breaking into the top 4. Does this increase the pressure on clubs like Liverpool, Arsenal, Everton? Because when clubs like that, who are, let's be perfectly honest, even just historically smaller football clubs, are able to achieve that, then something must be wrong in our own teams.
I mean, I think that teams like Leicester, West Ham,
That was really disrespectful. I didn't mean it to be. It's fine.
No.
Southampton, I think they showed up the elite clubs, the so-called elite clubs this year. They showed them up.
They got snotted by us in the league cup.
Yeah, but they've been consistent.
And then beat us in the league.
They've been consistently good throughout the season. They've beaten the big clubs. I think that the way in which they've brought players in, the way in which they've played games tactically, and that they have showed up the so-called elite team. Look at Chelsea this season. How bad Chelsea have been.
Go on, Pat.
I was going to say we've shown ourselves up, so we don't need anyone else to do that. But I would say the teams you mentioned there, no European football, so that's a big bonus for them this season. I even learned Liverpool played 8 games this month and Leicester played 4. That's the difference. One thing I would say about West Ham, I was sitting here 2 years ago in exactly the same position, going, "This is amazing." Not saying that will happen, but football can flip very quickly both ways. We were sitting here chasing 4th. We beat Arsenal 3-0. I'm thinking, we're on here. We missed out, and then we've just gone ever since. So football can flip very quickly either way. But he's doing a brilliant job, Billage. He really is.
Yeah. I think you just striking while the iron's hot as well. The move to the stadium's a massive gamble. Yeah. We saw how it affected Arsenal. Even going back to when he's played the European games at Wembley, stuff like that.
The difference is we had to pay for it though.
No, of course.
We had 8 years to have to pay for it. They got it for free.
But there is an impact. I think
we're paying for it over 100 years. What do you want?
What are you paying? What are you paying for it?
$2.5 million a year. So
You.
We're paying for it.
We're paying for all.
We're all paying for it. I mean, they've got a right touch with that stadium.
You can't fault the ambition though, and the opportunism of it, because look, it could go badly tits up.
I just want to set the record straight before we go on. I just want to set the record straight. I've got to say something because I hear it every week on this about we're happy. From him mostly, yeah. We offered to buy the stadium.
Yeah,
we did. We offered to buy it.
How did that go?
Tottenham put the stoppers on it. We was ready to buy it. They decided that we could buy it. Tottenham were the ones that said no. We want a bidding process. Okay. Then they decided that they didn't want it to be sold. Yeah, so they wanted it to the. Now that's not our fault. Come on, we
How
just.
How much did you offer to buy it for?
£8 over 47
No. We offered
weeks.
to pay back the money that they'd already converted the stadium, and the conversion would have been our own.
No, hold on. You said you offered to buy the stadium. How much did you offer
for
to
the same
buy
amount,
it for?
For the same amount that they built it for. It was built for athletics. So we would have given them the money back for the athletics, and then the conversion would have been down to ourselves. Okay. It's the LDC that have had to convert it into a football stadium. Now, it's a white elephant, right? I've been to so many places like Barcelona, one in Greece, I can't remember where that was, but Athens, yeah? The stadiums are... When we went on a tour, they said, "I'll take you to a tour to the Olympic Stadium in Barcelona." Got to the place, I went, look through the fence, like looking in the jungle. there was trees coming up out of the stands, right? Yeah. Now, I'm not saying that would have happened now, but what that does for the taxpayer, I know it's cost a lot of money. I mean, it's ridiculous how much money it's cost. It's ridiculous, yeah. But they're the ones that offered to do it, and they offered to rent it to us. Now that's bringing some money back. That's bringing some money back to it. They get all the catering rights. They've just sold the naming rights, which all goes back to the taxpayer. They all obviously get rent off of us. I know that
I wouldn't want that money. I'd just take a vote on the naming rights for it instead of having the money. Can we force that through in a petition?
It should be called the Two-Cock Stadium.
The taxpayers don't want the money back for the naming rights. We want to name it ourselves.
Yeah.
But the thing is,
Max Stadium face.
With us in now, it gives something back. Yeah. Without us in there, it would have given nothing back. That's all I'm saying.
What does it give back to me?
It doesn't give
exactly.
anything. It doesn't give anything back to me either.
Absolutely, shut up.
I paid for it as well.
Back to me.
I still come back to it and I say, look, you're in a good place at the moment. And you say, look, it's all about timing, isn't it?
It is.
West Ham
it is.
at a point where they're about to go into a much bigger stadium. Even if you don't quite make the Champions League, you're there or thereabouts. Big influx of cash coming in, and look, being in London, having somewhere to.
And plus as well, I don't know if either of you guys have been to the stadium. Well, I mean, I went there for. I've been there for when the Olympics was on, and I used to work near the stadium as well in Stratford, and I can tell you that whole area, the amount of money they've spent around there, the infrastructure, Westfield, the train links and that, it's like probably the best place to be now in London because the train links to there from anywhere in the UK, it's unreal. It's going to be a completely different to when West Ham are at Upton Park, which is like a really difficult ground to get to, only one tube station, the road links are terrible. This place, I think, I can see like a billionaire looking at that and thinking, I'd be primed to buy.
Can I just ask a question for you, Robbie, because you've experienced it firsthand. Could West Ham lose out on something by moving away from the Boleyn ground?
Yeah, you can. You can. We all know you get the problems with the atmosphere, and like you said earlier, Ped. You can have fans that you've sat with for years and years and years, and you move into a new stadium. When Arsenal did it, when you moved into the new stadium, it was a great idea at the time. They said go and choose wherever you want to sit, etc. But there was no thought process that went into how do we keep people together or the atmosphere and that. I think West Ham have been trying to. In the way they're doing it, they're trying to see ways around that and how they can improve that. But you do initially lose that, and then of course it's a much bigger stadium, so you get an influx of a lot of new fans who come in, and those new fans, they're still learning about the club and the songs and I'm saying
I wasn't expecting such a well-oiled response to this, Robbie. It's almost like you've thought about this a lot.
It's something that I see, right? So City have had it in their stadium, and most people who move into a new stadium, especially when it's a big, and the Olympic Stadium is a big stadium. Yeah. Those problems do come, but
your toilets won't smell as much of piss. Which
is
a good move, because I can tell you at Anfield, the main stand.
The thing that worries me about it is, and I've always been a bit worried about this, but maybe you can ease my concerns. When you first move in now, obviously we've never played there, yeah? The team's never played there. So when you start a season, you're basically starting the season in a neutral ground.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know we'll have our fans there, but the atmosphere is going to be different. It's going to be a new feel for the players. The pitch is going to be different. Where their families are sitting is going to be different. It's like playing cup final every week. But
and I'll tell you what happens, right? Every team that comes to your ground, right, all of a sudden it's like they're going to Wembley.
Yeah.
So I know that every fan I speak to, like, they look forward to coming to the Emirates because
you've got an high opinion of yourselves.
No, but this is not a high opinion, right? It's that when you go to.
You there, poor person. Come see our great stadium.
It's like the World Cup final.
It's like Wembley.
Listen. Right?
You ever been to the cup final?
I think the Emirates is better than Wembley, by the way. But when a lot of teams go to them sort of, I'm being honest. It is a better stadium than Wembley.
It is impressive.
Right?
It's an impressive stadium.
But what I'm saying
more
is
impressive than Wembley.
I've never been to Wembley.
Oh, dear.
Have you got a statue? We've got 47. Who's your Lee Dixon statue?
Well, like I said, right, fans, they look forward to going to these stadiums. So they're going to look forward to going to the Olympic Stadium.
Yeah.
So, and there's going to be a lot of away fans, you know, because there'll be a bigger allocation for them. It will be harder for West Ham to play out there to start off with.
Better or worse than your stadium?
Be better than what I haven't seen what it's going to look like because I'm still trying to get my head around how they're going to convert it. But I've been there, and as for the Olympics,
I think Tottenham's
it was
is
a
gonna be better.
fantastic stadium. It's a brilliant stadium.
I think Tottenham's and West Ham stadiums.
Why
will
is
be
Tottenham
better.
going to be better?
I just think Tottenham. It's got more seats than
It's
yours,
still
hasn't
in
it?
the same area.
It's got
man. I
more
don't get-
seats, though, hasn't it?
Tottenham-
It's got a better attendance. It's going to be well.
I-
Tottenham are going to have more attendance.
Ted, listen, I'm going to be really honest with this now, right?
Yeah, go
I
for
think
it.
Tottenham.
Have you been lying to us up to this point? That's the concern.
No, because we're talking about Tottenham now. But Tottenham have really lost out. That's why they were desperate to get the stadium in Stratford, because not just the stadium, it's all the infrastructure and everything that comes with it. Yeah. It's all there and complete and ready to go at West Ham. Just like at Arsenal, they got like 4 tube stations. At Tottenham, it's still going to be in the same place. Yeah. It's still one of the most difficult stadiums to get to in the whole of the UK. That's not going to change. It's going to be worse now with the amount of people.
We're having a problem getting to White Hart.
No, speak to Tottenham fans. Even they complain about getting there.
The queues for the station, they ain't
ridiculous.
even got an underground station.
For a while
Yeah.
on the way
But
back
it's
to
a
Member.
pleasant day. Yeah, no, it's
And
right.
there's no stadiums real nearby. So
That's because all their fans stay till the end, don't they? Rather than legging it to get the tube.
The
Yeah.
same with Arsenal, when everyone hangs around the key.
To Robbie.
Yeah.
For Robbie, yeah. They all have their own seats for their iPads as
Right,
well.
so before we have this
it's not made
segment,
out
we'll
of wood.
move
That's
on.
the only way. Stadium's not made
That's
out of
all
wood.
right.
Ask the question to the people there, what's the top 4 going to be this season?
This season,
Yeah, are West Ham going to break in?
Just take one of my questions for later.
no, I think the top 4 is going to be what the top 4 is now.
Okay. You know what? Well, I'll let Chris ask the question. Have a little think on that. We'll make sure we've got a proper response. Is that better?
Yeah, that's cool. Nice one.
Excellent. Right, Chris, to wrap up this topic, over to social media centre.
Ross, AFC, West Ham deserve top 4. Persol Capo, I'm sorry, mate. I'm really sorry. Top 4 will stay as it is. Coquelin Tang, is that how you say it? Coquelin Ting. No chance they'll finish 4th. Matthew Maguire, who's clearly a West Ham fan, watch us in a few seasons. Sean Rush, 1 season, a free stadium, don't make you boss. So I think Sean's pretty much just told you there. And West Ham United. And West Ham United, West Ham will become a bigger club than Arsenal, let alone Everton, who are always going to be in Liverpool's shadow and can't make the top 6 with Lukaku and Barkley.
West Ham, though. What has that got to do with exactly?
At the end, it was the bit about Liverpool's shadow that I really enjoyed. Paul,
Did you lose that Thingo challenge this week and they cut your hair?
No. Someone said I look like a potato. Listen, this hair, it's short like, but Robbie and Nicky would love it, wouldn't they?
I dream of hair like that, man. to be honest.
There's quite a bit about Paul
Blonde
Barber
David
deserving accolades and stuff as well. Comment to the comments.
Bloke in the Asda. Anyway, we move on. It's the Ask the Club segment now. We asked you to send in your questions and what have you by the medium of @BallStreet on Twitter, and I guess probably some in the comments as well. Chris, do you want to... are you ready to get stuck into all that?
Yeah, I'm going to start out with a question for you, actually. It's come from Twitter. I'm just going to zoom in on it now. See, that was the zooming in noise. At Booth MUFC, Paul's thoughts on ex-Man United striker Owen becoming Liverpool's ambassador. #Ask the Club.
No, not for me. Like, I don't see... look, I think in enough time, Michael, people will kind of let it go to some extent. I don't know. He got a terrible reception at Carragher's testimonial, and then he came back, I think, for another one later on, and it kind of eased off a bit. But what kind of thing is he portraying for Liverpool? I don't know. You know,
Bad wool.
Bad wool.
Bad wool is what he's portraying.
Turncoat.
Just bad wool.
He is a bad wool. I don't know. I get it from a perspective. It just feels like someone's not really thought about it properly. They've gone through a list of players who have not long retired, who've had enough success, have got a profile in world
Big
football.
TV personalities, basically,
Well,
you know.
I wouldn't say he's got a big...
Personality's an issue on that, isn't it? Absolutely. But no, I think someone's looked at it and gone, well, look, you know, we play for England. Everyone knows him around the country. He's known around world football. He won the Golden Boot, didn't he? You know, he's still a name in world football. Well, he'll be good to promote Liverpool. And obviously glossing over the fact that he signed for Man United. And I know he didn't go directly or whatever, but it's just not the
Did he win a
not the
title
done
at
thing.
Man United?
Yeah, it's funny that he did
Did he win a title?
You know what he didn't win when he left us for Real Madrid?
No, I know what he didn't win. I know what he did win.
You know that.
I know what he
But we
did
won
win.
it
I'm
for
just
the
saying what
fifth time,
he
and Michael
did
Owen
win.
wasn't present.
I'm just saying what he
at the
did
time.
win.
So no, I don't think he should be. But
Anyway, nice one, Booth. He's asking me my thoughts on it.
what were your thoughts on it?
I don't care about him. Jose Perez, the relegation battle is really close now and looks like the only thing to play for. Who's staying up?
Pet? Is it Newcastle?
I really, really hope that we get beat by Sunderland and Norwich. That's all I can say.
That's your perfect scenario.
We've got
isn't it?
3
Your
games
manager
left. Leicester Saturday, where they'll win the title against us. Then we play Sunderland on Wednesday. Hope Sunderland batter us, and then we play Norwich, and Norwich batter us, and then Newcastle get relegated. Funny story. I was working on Saturday night, and 6 lads from the North East jumped in my car, and one of them went, "You look like that Peter McPartland off Toffee TV," and I just went, "What? And it's,
I don't know what you mean, mate.
I'm not sure what you mean, like. And then he went, "Oh, I'm a big Evertonian, like, I really like the way you're going and stuff, and you're doing really well." And then I was like, yeah. Still double charged, though.
Oh yeah, we asked the question actually the week if you can guess what Ped does for a living, and I don't know if that gave it away.
Loads of people just thought I worked in a
I think
bar.
Newcastle stay
A
up.
lot of people thought you were. A lot of people picked a lot of things that were very similar though.
I'm starting to think Newcastle.
They probably
Benitez in charge.
They probably will.
I can I'm feeling that way, to be perfectly honest. Look, they're out of it at the minute, albeit the other teams have got games in hand. But I think at that stage, you'd rather have the points on the board.
They're more
wouldn't you?
Sunderland though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Norwich. I think Norwich have. Sorry, Jack. I think Norwich have gone. I just don't see the fight in them. But I think it's between them and Sunderland. Sunderland got the game in hand, which is against us. There you go, mate.
The thing with Norwich is... You just have to look at the 3 managers, and it says to me they're not going to stay up because the other 2 are massively experienced managers, aren't they? Sam Allardyce, Rafa Benitez can really keep them up, but you know.
And no one can really remember the name of the Norwich manager.
Is it Alex Neil?
Alex Neil.
Does anyone really care? Seriously.
Sorry, Norwich fans. Go on, Nicky, what's your
No, I said that I thought Norwich might stay up, but I didn't look at the fixtures, to be honest.
Over table.
I've done a video for Jack's channel.
Just had a good feeling about it.
just
like,
no, the thing
got a
is,
lot of time for Jack.
you shouldn't brace it. But the 2 games that they've had against us, they've got some very good players. But I didn't
Name
look at
one.
Redmond.
That's
That's good player.
That's the one.
That's one.
Carry
Fair
on.
enough.
Tick, ding. There you go.
But yeah,
Brady, it's a good player. Robbie Brady.
Jerome?
Mbakani's a good player. I thought, you know what, on Saturday he showed a lot of fight. I don't agree with that. They have got a lot of fight in them.
Yeah,
I'm just not sure if they got the quality. That's the problem.
yeah, the 2 games we had against us. No, listen, the 2 games I base it on 2 games, and you shouldn't do that in football. That's the problem. But I base it on 2 games that they had against us. They looked okay, where Sunderland and Newcastle didn't really. And I think Sunderland. I think the Allardyce factor is going to kick in, and I think he's going to get them over the line.
Christoph?
Yeah, I was just nodding along because I agree with the point really rather than I had anything to say. I actually think it's going to be Sunderland as well, to be fair. I'm going to question now for Robbie from BJ Minoski. Do you think... Sorry, I'm just laughing at BJ. Do you think the protest will lead to any change at Arsenal, or will Wenger continue to be backed as long as he makes top 4?
It's so hard to answer. I think that
What you've got to do is first, Robbie, you just see that fence, just get off it.
no, it's not. I'm even on my fence. You're asking a question. Do I think there's going to
Brings his own. He's so big now. He's got his own fence. Arsenal fan TV with their own fences.
Do I think there's going to be change? Arsene Wenger, I can't second guess that guy. I was convinced last
you want him to
summer
lose his job? Do you
that he's
want him
going to
to lose
buy
his
like a world-class player. He didn't buy anybody. He did apologise, and that's like a change. So I'm hoping that he at least goes out in the summer and spends a load of money. But I
on
have to wait and
14-year-old
see.
centre-backs.
Yeah. He needs a new left back, doesn't he?
Quick question for Ped.
Oh, thanks, mine's
Actually,
just a quick
Julio
one.
Mansell, are Ped and Baz up for some shots and flares when Bobby gets the chop? Mashiri's paying.
I don't think Machiri is paying, is he? And flares, I mean, really? Can we go to Barcelona at least?
Barcelona.
Do you know what, Albie? When Robbie does get the axe, which I think he will now, because I've looked this morning, there's quite a few journalists suggesting that he's going, which says to me
You
that...
told me he was going last week.
Well, of course, I'm there before them, aren't I?
He's a wishful thinker.
You know what, I'll be disappointed from the point of view that he's a nice fella and he's a nice fella.
He's a very good dancer.
He smells really nice as well. His hairline, no, for the sake of his hairline, I think he needs to go. It's gone, and it just he is like, you know, he has turned into the Walking Dead in the last 6 months. He's just looks terrible. Yeah. Listen, I'll be sad when he goes from the point of view that it's failed, but secretly inside I'll be laughing my tits off because it needs to happen.
So yes, the flares, really.
No, I'm not gonna do flares. I'm sorry, it's not gonna happen.
Tequilas in flares.
No.
On the social club.
No. Pink, maybe.
By the way, hold on. By the way, I liked you on Talk Sport the other day.
That was amazing.
You and Mike Perry.
Yeah, it was
Did you hear that?
So,
They were going at it.
If you haven't heard it yet, go and track it down.
That was brilliant. That was brilliant.
They actually promoted it though. That was the funny thing. They actually promoted it later on the day, going, Mike Perry takes on Toffee TV host.
And I heard him saying today, he was questioned today, I was listening to the radio, about the weekend's games, and he didn't even even know who they played. He didn't know that you played Bournemouth.
Yeah.
But he didn't know.
£500 like normal people.
Yeah, he didn't know who Everton had played at the weekend.
He shut it. Ped shut him.
True fan.
I won.
I've never seen you at Goodison, mates.
Yeah, go on, mate.
At the Hammers _, where do you see West Ham within the next 5 years?
Inside a stadium that we're paying for.
It's so difficult.
In your wildest
as
dreams.
Ped said, in Champions League. Okay. Just in the Champions League consistently. If we can get in the next 2-3 seasons, stay in them European places like consistently, a bit like Spurs have, and then they've sort of built on what they have, and now are starting to challenge. And I
Finishing
think,
above Arsenal as well, I believe.
Yeah. Well, hopefully Arsenal will finish above them, but.
Every London club's aim to finish above Arsenal.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
The highest finishing team. It's not about you. It's just about
just competing with the European spots on a regular basis, so we can build on what we've got, get some new players in. You know, some class players to sort of push us up. You know, if we had someone like
me?
They're forward. Lukaku. I think we're the one.
Can I make a prediction about West Ham? And this is not. I'm not taking the mickey when I say this.
Yeah.
I genuinely, even the next 5 years, you will have London in your name somewhere as well. I know it's going in your badge, but I genuinely believe the owners will put London somewhere in. It won't be.
I believe
It won't be West Ham United anymore.
Believe, Ped, if we're going to go down that route, I believe that a new owner has requested the London to go in the badge.
Ooh. A new owner. Have you got enough owners?
No, I mean, I believe that the badge change and the London Incorporated was requested by someone that has said, well, move into the Olympic Stadium and change the badge, and some.
We want to throw a tiger in the badge as well.
Yeah.
No tigers, but
Red home kit.
with London in the badge, it's a more marketable thing.
That's what I'm saying. I genuinely believe West Ham will be called London.
But what are Chelsea going to be called on Pro Evo if that happens? If they're not,
you can't.
Chelsea will probably be in League One by then. I would fully expect they're only going in one direction.
Disturb the balance of the Pro Evo rules,
No.
You can't do that.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think the future's very, very bright for West Ham. But and I do this all the time. I think next season's is the pivotal one. All you've got to do, I don't think you need to worry next season about kicking on. You need to consolidate next season.
That's what I'm saying.
If you can just establish yourself as a top 6 side, I think it gives you a great platform to move on from that. Get over like the new stadium thing. Make sure you win a few games there, because that could be an issue. And then I think
don't get relegated. I think that's probably the rule, isn't it? Because I mean that's a very West Ham thing to do.
Yeah, we can get in Europe. This season for transfers is going to be massive for us, because we've got a selling point at the moment. You know what I mean? We're moving into this. This is what we want to go. Look how close we were to Champions League. You come and play to us, you can get us there, and it's a selling point to anybody that wants to come to us. Really, you know.
Statue of Dimmy Payet outside.
Yeah, next year maybe.
29.
29.
The Blue Water surely must be a selling point as well. You know,
The what?
the night. What's it called? The
Westfield.
Westfield. Sorry, that must be a selling point as well. Mustn't it?
Absolutely.
Look at that.
Robbie's mentioned. That's the second mention it's
I
got
know.
on the show. They're not paying
And
for
the-
this.
Go
like.
to the football.
Do you know what
take
else
your
would
missus
sell
to
them?
Westfield.
Do you know what else would sell it
It's
as well?
all done.
The infrastructure. I'm convinced by what Robbie's told me. The infrastructure
Oh,
to
yeah,
sell the club on its own.
Listen,
The-
Pez bought in.
You know, it's got
Literally,
Season
literally
ticket.
bought in. Like,
It's got 4 tube stations. I'm in.
we haven't
Straight in
we
there.
haven't even got a tube.
Ah,
You wouldn't understand.
I'm getting me octopus card at the ready.
So, Chris, you got anything else?
One final question over on Twitter, actually. At Liam LFC 1717 asks, which 3 players from each respective club would you sell in this summer? So we'll start off maybe with Robbie.
Well, Arteta,
Someone who wants
Arteta,
to answer.
Flamini,
Dead air.
Theo Walcott. Those 3.
Anyone in this room would take any of those 3 players?
Who was the 3? Flamini, Walker and
Arteta.
Arteta.
Well, Walcott's going to Liverpool anyway, isn't he? So.
No.
I hope not.
Shut up, you.
I wouldn't want
Shit's there and tit.
That's what I heard. That's what I heard.
Liverpool fan.
On the streets.
Standard.
On the
See, not on a wall sprayed. Walcott for life.
I actually think that Theo Walcott going somewhere else might do really, really well.
For Arsenal.
He's a full-on Newcastle player.
He's a
isn't
stale
he?
at Arsenal.
He's a full-on Newcastle player, isn't he?
He is
Oh,
a full-on Newcastle
got
player.
Newcastle.
Go on, the Hughes today.
No, in Valencia. Joey O'Brien.
Do you own Jenkinson, or is he still on?
No, he's gone
He's
back.
on loan, he's gone back, he's injured.
I can't think of anyone else.
You just love the squad.
Yeah, Sacco maybe. I'd cash in on Sacco.
Okay, cool.
I'd cash
Kaz?
in on him.
Stones is going. Lukaku's going.
Barkley.
No, I think
Go
Barkley's...
for the perfect.
I think
the
Barkley's
perfect today.
Holy Trinity
No,
of selling club. And then there's loads who are going anyway.
I thought, hold on, wait a minute. All the billionaires who got coming in, how are they going to go? You said a billionaire owner.
Listen,
but
football's football, isn't it? They're going. And then you have got Osman Hibbert, Pina, they're all going. The only Kevin Morales will probably go as well.
We did ask for 3.
Well, I've give you 3.
You've actually given us a fair few.
No, they're
more
all
than
going
3,
on free
if I'm perfectly
transfers.
honest.
But the 3, I think Morales will go. I think.
You keep Pina?
No, Pina's going as well. I love Pina, but he's going as well. When he came on against you, he looked like he... Did you see him warming up and he had the bands around the legs? He still looked like he still had it on while he was running. I think John Stones is going to go to City. I think Romelu Lukaku is going to go into Europe. And I think Kevin Morales will probably just go for his own arse.
I think
Seems
the
like
question
a
was the
fella.
interested use of fingers to count them.
The question was...
You know what it was?
Like
It was a
Robbie.
man like Robbie Fingers.
No, the question was who would you sell, not who's going to go. Who
That's
would you
true.
sell?
Who would you get rid of?
Get rid of all of them. They're on knobheads.
The lot.
Tim Howard. Yes.
Oh yeah, Timmy
He's
Howard.
going. Well, he's going anyway. I'd get rid of all of them. They're all crap. Honestly. The only one I'd keep is I'd just sell them all and just have
Joel.
I'd have Joel in goal, Ross Barkley and Wayne Rooney, and that's it.
Wayne Rooney don't play for you.
He will be soon, mate. You watch.
Okay.
You watch.
They're so
whenever
insistent.
stage you're wrong.
Right, okay, for me, the players that have to go for Liverpool this summer, Simon Mignolet, because he's garbage. Martin Skrtel, he should have gone when Man City wanted to pay £20 million for him, and that makes me really sad that he'll go for like 2, probably to West Ham. Or Newcastle. He's a Newcastle
another
player as
Newcastle
well, amazing.
Damn you going down!
Final one, Christian Benteke. Get him while you can get some money. Chris?
Check those 3 for me.
You've got your own camera.
He's got the same ones.
I've got the exact same ones. I think Christian Benteke, I think we can still get probably 15 to 20 million pounds for him.
From where?
And I think he'll go and be a good... I think we will. Not now.
You got the haircut.
He's on a terrific come down.
What'd you pay for him? 32?
32.
We'll give you 15.
Yeah, well, that's it. West Ham will definitely give us 15
Listen,
million.
inflate.
To be fair, he does turn
you
your-
paying at least 18.
You know, Carroll's playing quite well, to be fair.
Yeah.
I actually think that, you know what?
Yeah.
Benteke would be a good signing for Everton.
Oh, stop talking nonsense.
To replace...
Every week you pat me on the head like I'm... Like, stop it! He fucking shite. I'm not having it. I don't care if we're live or not. I'll say it. Benteke is garbage. Wouldn't want him anywhere near.
He's not.
Oh, how many goals he scored this season?
What happens did he score the
10.
season before? What do you do when he's at Villa? He was a top player. He was a handful for all defences. He would be good for Everton.
And he's still young.
What have you got way better than that?
He's 24 years old and he scores goals in the Premier League. Mate.
I'm not being funny, but you sound like you're trying to sell me a second-hand car. one lovely owner, well, two, Brendan and Klopp. Although Klopp clearly doesn't want it and has been winding back the speedometer.
So no,
I don't want him.
Oh,
Don't want him.
He's fine with the Asian Wayne Rooney, formerly world-class striker. Doesn't score that many
Have
goals,
you
gets
wa-
injured.
have you
I
watched-
genuinely thought you said
Have
he's
you
fine
watched
with an
Wayne Rooney
Asian
play
Wayne
centre-
Rooney. I thought, it's like,
Wayne
he's got a
Rooney
new
playing
sponsorship
centre
deal
midfield
again.
is
Like,
just amazing.
terrible.
He's amazing. Terrible.
He's terrible in
Oh
midfield.
man, you haven't got a clue about footy. How you have got your own channels? I don't know. You've just been believing your own hype for too long.
Well, you
honest
think
to God.
Rooney's been good in midfield? I don't.
He's
What's he done?
superb.
How many assists has he had?
It's not always about assists. I know
Well, what's he
I know
doing
you
then?
just.
How many
I know,
goals has he scored
I know
for
you're just
midfield?
like it's everything's about assists.
What's he done though? But I'm asking, what's he done?
Ozil. He's
What's he
just
done?
really good. He's just really good. He just knows how to play it.
What's he done?
He doesn't have to do anything. It doesn't always have to be about
just turn up,
assists.
That's the Roberto Martinez attitude.
It's not always about assists. It's just football. You can play football. I'll recycle your face in a minute. Shut up. I can't. I'm tethered by a microphone.
I'm fucking not.
He swore.
I thought he was keeping this clean.
He swore. See the way I'd kept it really cool, calculated. I mouthed it.
You said it out loud. I just didn't do it very well.
Yeah. I feel like this is
Yeah,
what
it's
everyone's
gone
waiting
off.
for. If I'm being honest, like,
Yes, the good stuff.
yeah, this is what it's actually normally like when it's pre-recorded. Yeah, there you go. I apologise if anyone's
but I
watching
have
with your children.
Lost it.
I haven't lost it because I haven't said the magic word. We all know what the magic word is.
One of the comments was Asian Wayne Rooney.
Head is rage.
Go ahead, Chris. Give us some comments to that.
Head broke it.
What did you break?
I don't know.
Robbie's got his Arsenal goggles on.
Okay, actually, while we're here, we did ask the question. What's your top four then? Leicester,
Tottenham.
Spurs, Arsenal, and you know what? Because I like you, Nicky, putting West Ham in four. Because you know what? Just blow it all up. Why not? You having that?
No. No. It's going to stay as it is.
Yeah. Staying as it is.
You football bores. Go on,
Leicester,
Rob. Yeah.
Arsenal, Spurs,
Yeah.
City.
So if you think that Arsenal are going to finish above Spurs, let us know in the comments. Chris, have you got anything you want to say before we go?
I'd like to ask you all for next season, who do you think the top four will be? In order.
Oh. Liverpool,
Yes.
City,
Spurs.
Everton. Nah, not really. One of the other. Chelsea, and then whoever else. I don't care.
That was you just said
That's 6.
4. How many do you want? You said 4 and someone else, and then someone else. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be Arsenal 4th again, of course.
Standard.
I think it's going to be Tottenham 3rd. I think it's going to be Liverpool 2nd, and I think Man City are going to win it.
Okay. You all happy with that? Okay.
City
Robbie's
first.
not.
Go on.
City first, Arsenal second, Chelsea third, because Chelsea are going to have no European football next season.
Yeah.
and
They
a
got
new
no
manager.
European football
No
next season?
European football, right?
Chelsea got no European football.
So they're going to be in. They're definitely. Gonna be in the top
But you know
four.
what they have got? They've got garbage fan channels putting banners outside Spurs grounds.
And
Good on yous. Yeah, football aids. Yeah, get lost. Anyway, carry on.
and I don't know who'll get that 4th spot, to be honest. Liverpool.
Go ahead. I like Robbie sometimes.
Do you
go
know
on
what? I'm going to upset people.
Leicester.
No, Tottenham. I think Tottenham might
Tottenham
win
going to
it.
win it.
I think they might. Chelsea.
I
City.
don't see Chelsea bouncing
Arsenal.
back that much. I really don't. I just don't see them
I
bouncing.
just think City next season with Pep Guardiola will be
Go on,
serious.
Chris. What?
What was Nicky's fourth one?
Nicky
Arsenal.
packed in.
Arsenal. I've gone for Spurs to win it. So it was Nicky. Liverpool second, City third, Chelsea fourth.
Interesting.
I-
Doesn't agree with it.
I just think.
honestly Leicester will struggle with that.
No, I do. I just don't see
So will
Chelsea.
Tottenham as well, though. Well, Tottenham never had Champions League football. They're going to have that this year as well.
Yeah, but I think they're going to invest. I just don't see the thing with Chelsea, though. I think they are a very average team. I think they're going to lose players, and for them to all to come together.
Yeah.
And the manager's not proven either in this league. You know, he's a good manager and everything, but I think it's going to take a little bit more. And because so many teams are going to be fighting for it, I just don't see them getting in the top four.
So
Okay,
Chelsea,
okay.
have still, they've got a lot of quality.
Lads.
still, Chelsea.
Lads,
They've got attitudes, though.
lads.
Not like Pep.
For this, for pre-season, we'll continue this. Let us know your thoughts on anything we've discussed on these. Is there anything else you'd like to just sign off on? No. Just give everyone, can you give everyone a wave? Just go ahead.
Man, they got.
Oh, life users were like
The subs. Can you have minus subs?
There you go.
Unsubbed.
If you haven't done so already, and if you haven't unsubscribed, do subscribe to the Ball Street YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this, we're going to be doing Social Club Live every month or so. We're here every Monday. Other than that, doing 4 or 5 of the biggest topics affecting
Without
world
big
football.
milky nipples.
Without big milky nipples. Thanks for watching. Thoughts below. As I say, go subscribe to the Ball Street channel. We'll see you back here next week.